And then back to Goldin to the rim. Oh, great block. James out of nowhere, skies to the rim. Boyd took the advantage and played on from inside the center square. Boyd kicked the goal. Boyd kicked the goal from inside the center. Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup. He's hands right back up. Big head kick. Down goes Thompson. It's over.
Live it, breathe it, love it. All sports, double coverage.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sports. This is double coverage. I'm Dom with the Great Man Sauce. We're back at it again. How you going, mate?
How are you, Domma? We're back
Good, mate.
with another show 33. Show 33, and I'll tell you what, there's been some absolutely action-packed sport today, the last few days. So, Champions League back. It was a great game this morning. Great seeing Barcelona get absolutely slapped.
And Saucy's gone and recorded the podcast this time, so he's not going to have any further issues as we do every week. We're on it this week, ladies and
We're on the
gents.
ball.
But yes, Barca got slapped, and I'm looking forward to a segment today. I'm not going to get it. I'm looking forward to it. I could become the most hated person. I'll tell you what, when we start talking about double coverage, the family is going to be like, Sauce is definitely our favourite host out of the two after I finish in today's segment. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Well.
But let's get into it. As we always do, we start off with the NBA, and we go straight to the standings. Philadelphia still on top, 18 and 10. Brooklyn up into second now, 17 and 12. Milwaukee third, Boston fourth, Indiana fifth. New York up into sixth, Toronto seventh, Charlotte into eighth, Chicago ninth, Miami 10th, Atlanta 11th, Orlando 12th, Cleveland 13th, Washington 14th, and Detroit still at the bottom in 15th. And then over to the Western Conference, Utah on top with 23 wins and 5 losses. Lakers second, Clippers third, Phoenix up into fourth, Portland fifth, Spurs sixth, Denver seventh, Golden State at eighth, Memphis are 9th, Dallas 10th, New Orleans 11th. I think they're going to get higher by the end of the season. So Sacramento 12th, Houston 13th, Oklahoma is 14th, and Minnesota 15th. So there's the standings. Bit of news. AD injured.
Yep.
How's this going to affect your boy, Sauce? Let's get into it.
Just rest up AD. Rest up AD. Luckily, you've got the alien that is LeBron James on your team, and he's just going to have to pick up the slack. We're seeing today the other fellas off the bench. We got depth, don't worry, and we'll just chug along nicely. They'll keep winning a few games. They'll probably drop a couple, but AD wasn't playing very good. He showed signs when he was back. He had one good game. Another decent, solid game, but he was pretty lackluster. I really hope that the Lakers do make a trade potentially to get Andre Drummond if we can fit him, or another big man, because I feel we lack in a bit of rim protection that we could have off rotation potentially when we have potential matchups in the playoffs, especially if we come up against Denver again. To frustrate Jokic, who's having an MVP type season. Pretty much, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's going to win the MVP, in my opinion. So,
I agree. You're playing really well at the moment. LeBron is just doing LeBron things. I am going to get back onto LeBron by the end of this segment. I just got, we love a good rant here on double coverage, and there's a few people I need to call out. All right, I'm a bit upset, so I need to address the issue, and we'll get into it from there. But Drummond, like you said, talks there, potentially a good fit for you boys, but it looks like Toronto are in the box seat. So we'll see what happens with that. But we've had some massive performances since our last podcast. Luka the Don, 46, 8, and 12. He's also had a 44, 7, and 9 game. Vucevic 42-9-4. Levine had a 46-7-4 game, 39-3. Sorry. Giannis had a 47-11-5. Curry 48-5. Beal 35-7-5 and 37-8-3. Zion had a 26-8-3 game. What do you have today, Sauce?
He had 31 points. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
The most amazing thing about that was Domma. He did not have a point in the first quarter, and then he still went on to score 31. The guy is an absolute beast. Took 1-3, drained it. What more can you ask? He doesn't shoot many. He doesn't need to, and this is what I'm saying with that explosiveness. And ability with his first step, which in my opinion he's got probably the best first step in the NBA, the most explosive. It's unbelievable.
He definitely has the most explosive, that's for sure. And then Julius Randle had 44-9-5 yesterday. I know the Joker also dominated today. He's been playing
in the
really, really well.
Yeah, that Denver team needs to start picking it up. And helping him out because he's doing a lot, but they're not winning games. So something's got to change. They need to figure it out. It's not Jokic's fault. He's keeping them in games. They were down.
100%.
They were down at times. 12, 15 points today against the Celtics, and Jokic kept them in the game, got them going, and then they got it back. Close, but then Boston were too strong in the fourth. So. Yeah, it's chugging along nicely. Any team stand out to you there, Domma, that is in the standings there that you think, you got Charlotte, LaMelo.
There is one team, but it's not a fringe team.
Here we go.
All right, because we saw it yesterday, and we've been saying it for a very long time. All right, because we said it about the bubble, and we were wrong. We're wrong in the bubble, and that's fine. But we said the season before that the Philadelphia 76ers were a ball roll away from making the finals. And yesterday, I know they lost against Utah and Clarkson dropped 40, whatever. But they lost, no Embiid. They kept it close. And for everyone that just keeps bagging Ben Simmons, I understand if you had a jump shot. Everyone said, he needs to be a perimeter shooter. Yeah. Well, I understand. Maybe a good inside jump shot would be helpful to his game. But it just showed how easily he scored the basketball.
Yeah. His ability to draw fouls yesterday in the game was unbelievable. Watched a bit of the second half. I think he put up in 20 points in the second half.
He dominated.
Yeah.
So they had no Embiid, and they pushed Utah right to the wire. Utah, credit to them, are very, very good at the moment. They're playing some great basketball. Basketball that they strung together probably 2 seasons ago, where I think Quinn Snyder was his first year or second year at the ball club, and they just looked really good. Great defense. They could score the ball. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell's coming into his own now. We did mention that last week on the pod. Ever since Shaq bagged him, he's really come into his own. He's really improved his game.
Stepped it up.
So watch them, but my pick is still Philly. I think they're very good and they're starting to work it out. They got obviously a different coach, which is implementing his system in Doc Rivers, and they're just playing great basketball. And when Embiid gets back, we know he's been dominating. He's just a bully, and he's our modern era version of Shaquille O'Neal. So I don't know. Watch this space with them.
With a jump shot.
Yeah. So last thing I did want to touch on, Sauce, before I get to the league leaders. Now, people are probably sick of us talking about LeBron James and his status all time and post-career where he's going to be. And that's fine. I don't care about Jordan's better than LeBron. And it's a difference of opinion. And it's always going to get people talking. But the thing I don't like is when the media single-handedly, are writing off LeBron and his legacy of ever catching Jordan. Ever. This is the thing. I was listening to a game the other day on League Pass, and they were talking about LeBron's got a lot to do if he's going to catch Jordan. And I was listening to a podcast, and even if you win 7, you won't catch Jordan. Blah, 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 blah. Just remember, I just want to point out a very, very similar comparison. All right. We're not considering most rings, all right, for basketball, clearly, because Bill Russell has the most. And Robert Horry, I think, has got 7. I know he's not Jordan, but what I'm saying is rings-wise. Do you understand? Like, in terms of accumulation of rings. And we never considered Bill Russell at all to be the GOAT and better than Jordan. Ever. Because you always put Wilt ahead of Bill Russell and Kareem. So he's not even in the talk. But my whole thing is like, it's the same thing with everything. You can say things, but you need to do your research into not just facts and stats and arguments and things to support your argument. Sorry, but also look at other sports and their GOAT discussion as well. Sometimes that's also an indicator of could this happen in basketball? Oh no, it's not similar. You know what I mean? Well, I'm comparing it to football. All right. The NFL had Tom Brady and Joe Montana. Now, Joe Montana was 4 from 4, never lost. All right? Brady got to 5 championships, and everyone still said, nah, he's still not better than Montana. I was like, okay. You go to basketball, Jordan 6 for 6. What I'm trying to say is perfection does not mean you are the GOAT. Because we go to football now, and Brady's got 7, and he's undoubtedly the GOAT now. But what I'm trying to say is he had to win 7 to be better than Montana. I said this last week when we recapped the Super Bowl. He was better than Montana after he won his 6th, potentially even after he won his 5th. He was better than Montana and the GOAT of quarterbacks. So what's the difference between LeBron and Jordan? What everyone's like, oh, even if LeBron wins more. He's got 4. If he wins this year, he's got 5. I'm not saying he is going to win, but he's got 5. Jordan won his 6th at 36, at the same age as what LeBron is now. But LeBron's probably going to play for another 4 years. And if he ring collects, and even if he doesn't ring collect and he's got 4 titles, what's the difference if LeBron's got 4 like Montana had 4? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
Brady surpassed perfection at 4, but even at perfection at 4 and 4, he was better than Brady when Brady had 6. So what's the difference in LeBron having 4?
We've had this discussion before, Domma. So I'm letting you get your point across. But I agree with you. But you never change the mentality of these people. In my opinion, it's about just appreciating what you're seeing, because you never know when you're going to get a player come along that good again, right? It's just like the same with soccer, and how blessed we are to still be seeing to Ronaldo and Messi, even though he could cop a whack today. But the new goats are coming up, Mbappe and Haaland's one to look towards. So you got to look towards the future as well. So
no, exactly. I completely agree. But my whole thing is like they keep dinging his legacy as if that's it. He's done. And I think it came up because LeBron said after he came back from 3-1 down against the Warriors that he thought of himself as the GOAT, and he told players like teammates that he was the GOAT. And people were like, "You can't do this." Blah blah blah. But what's the difference between Jordan saying I'm the best player in the world and verbally like putting it out there and saying I'm the best? You got to beat me if you want to be crowned king. Literally, I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I understand what you're saying. It's a flawed argument because everyone's got their mind made up already. But what I'm trying to say is you're talking about it now. Even if LeBron,
he's got to win 6, Domma. He's got to win 6, mate.
But even if he doesn't win 6, he still becomes the leader in every other stat in terms of like most points scored. He's already the most points in the playoffs in the history of the game already. And what's to say he doesn't play in the playoffs for the next 4 years? He potentially could get 10,000 points. Or 9,000 points, just playoff points. And as you know, playoff points don't even count towards your all-time points. Because that's just regular season stuff, the Kareem stuff. And I did a comp, and it worked out that LeBron was only like 2,000 points behind Kareem if you in all time, if you combine Kareem's playoff points and his regular season points and LeBron's career points and playoff points, he was only like 2,000 behind, not 3,000 like he is now.
Why the fuck don't
or whatever
playoff
it is.
points count?
No, they don't. It's all time regular season.
What the fucking bullshit's that?
Yeah.
Points are points.
So-
Did you play the game or not? So there you
Exactly
go.
right.
She's only 2,000 behind.
I'm pretty sure it was 2,000 last time I did the calc, and that was ages ago.
Stand to be corrected.
Yeah, well, fuck. Someone's correct me then. I love to be corrected. Anyway, I just wanted to put that pet peeve out there, and it pissed me off. And I agree with you, Sauce, completely. My whole thing's like, just enjoy LeBron. Why are we already summing up his career when he's still playing? You should just be enjoying him. Stop over-analyzing and critiquing him. And, like, who cares if he never wins again? Or if he loses 5 more times in the finals? Who cares? He still accomplished so much in the game that's beyond belief and beyond any other player. Like, he stopped some players from winning titles. Like, you think about it.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
You're not wrong.
understand.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't gotta preach to me, Domma. But we can have this discussion. Look, yeah, those people, that's their mind made up, mate. You can't change some people, but at the end of the day, let the kid from Akron keep proving people wrong. So that's all I say.
I completely agree. All right, let's get to the league leaders before I freaking blow my top off. All right, Bradley Beal, 33.1, leads the league.
Get him in the All-Star game, Domma.
Yeah, I agree. The Chef, 30.1. Embiid, 29.6. Lillard, 29.2. Luka, 29.1. The rebounds, Clint Capella, 14. Drummond, 13.5. Gobert, 13.2. Ayton, 12.3. Jokic, 11.5. And then the assists, Harden, 11.3. Luka the Don, 9.4. Westbrook, 9.4. Trae Young, 9.3. And Jokic, 8.7. Whoops. And the blocks, Turner 3.5, Gobert 2.8, Clint Capella 2.2, Boucher 2, Nerlens Noel from the Knicks 2. So there's your league leaders. Now, Sauce, I don't know if you want to get into it, but I think we might. We've got a little bit of time. We actually got through that very quickly. Let's talk about your All-Star selections compared to my All-Star selection. Because I know you deliberately, I'm going to just tell the Double Coverage family, I know that you deliberately selected someone in here just to fucking piss me off. I know the way you work. I looked at your team and I went, let's look at the East. Yep, Bill. Yep. Let's look at the West first. Sorry, it's like James. Yep, both got James. Jokic. Yep, both got Jokic. Zion. Yep. Curry. Yep. The only difference was I went Luka the Don and you went SGA. So why'd you go SGA?
Well, I went SGA and I said this on IG. Let's be honest. Luka the Don's a shoe-in. So I just gave some love to my boy SGA. I got a few of his cards. So I want to see him in the All-Star game because he's been given the responsibility of leading that team this season. And, you can see the difference. They got they won one of their last 3 games, but, they've gotten slapped in the other 2 games, which, he hasn't played his last 3 games. And he's elevated his stats, averaging 24 points a game. And he's shown that he can actually lead a team. Obviously, that team's young, but at the end of the day, I think he could definitely make the bench for sure.
Definitely. Now, in the East, all right, I'm not saying that it's a wrong pick. You can argue this pick compared to my pick, but you did it because you piss me off. I know why you do things, as I said. So we both went Bill, both went Giannis, both went Embiid. Now, ladies and gents, you will not believe what I'm about to tell you, but he picked Tatum because he completely overlooked his own boy, Sabonis, first and foremost.
Yes.
I said to him,
I'll agree with that. To be honest, I shouldn't have put Tatum. I should have put Sabonis, but I'd already made it, so I was like, stuff it. It's gonna have to stay. I would have put Sabonis.
Yeah, it's all right. It's there now. You submitted it. That's what you put. That's on record. It's on Instagram, so it must be factually correct. And then the last spot, just to dig into me a bit. I went Levine because I thought Levine's had a great season, which is fair enough. But you can argue this. But I knew you put this person in here because you wanted to argue it to me again on the podcast, so everyone could hear you say to me again, "He's having a career year, Dom. You said this, but he's playing really well." So You picked Brown, so I'm going to sit here and for probably the next minute and a half, I want you to tell me why did you pick him, Sauce?
Domma. Hey, at the end of the day, out of the two guys, and when I looked at these two guys earlier on in their career, when they had that run, in Tatum's rookie year, they had a deep run in the playoffs, and I was like, oh, these guys, they're very similar parts of the career, and I actually leaned to Jaylen Brown, and he's just showing me that he can elevate his game to the next level, and he's been more healthier than Tatum. So he obviously definitely deserves out of those two to be there. For the record, I would still pick Sabonis over Tatum. So, but yeah, look, he's just playing well. He's just playing well.
Just say Dom is having a career year. Just
say
it.
He's having a career year. Today he had 27
Yeah,
points. 27 points. He's averaging 26. You can probably get that up to 27 on the year.
I'm never going to live this down.
That's very good. I'm actually just watching.
It is good.
I'm just watching the Arsenal highlights as I speak to you. A 4-2 demolition of Leeds United.
Well, speaking of Arsenal, that's all we've got for basketball, and now we will move on to the EPL.
What a segue!
Mate, you're just a professional now. No, we don't need producers on this show. We are the producers. So, first up, we had Leicester versus Liverpool in what was a 3-1 smacking of the Reds. Now, Leicester played very well in this. Got the job done. They have been smashed by injury. Liverpool, they've been devastated by injury. So, they're not looking good. They're pretty much, let's be honest, they're done and dusted when it comes to winning
It's all about Champions League.
Yeah, it's all about Champions League, correct. So that's where they'll turn their focus at the moment. So, yeah, Leicester is now in third spot, equal with United. Goal difference is the only thing that separates them. It's only 3 goals a diff there. So, as you know, United just stinking up in place at the moment. But next up, we had Crystal Palace lost to Burnley 3-0. Then Man City beat Tottenham 3-0. Now, Man City, as we've said the last couple of weeks, they are just rolling along a very nice... They are home. Let's be realistic. They are 7 points clear of United in second with a game in hand and 13 goals clear in goal difference. So, unless they, as they say, shit the bed, there is no chance anyone is catching them. No chance. So, they're pretty much home. Villa and Brighton drew 0-0. Southampton lost to the Wolves 2-1. United 1-1 with West Brom.
What's happened to your boys, Domma? I'm looking at their last 5. One win in the last 5, three draws and 1 loss.
Mate, there was one of the greatest saves of all time by the West Brom keeper on a Harry Maguire header, I'm pretty sure. It was like it was an all-time save. Pretty much saved them from losing the game. So, I don't know. I've got no words to explain it. I genuinely don't, Sauce. I've got nothing to say.
Did he tip it onto the post, did he?
Yeah, I think so. That's the one.
Oh,
yeah.
Wowee. That was a cracking save.
Yeah, we've just been horrendous. I've got nothing else to say on them. I think I'm on the verge of going back to where we started with my squad. They may...
Look, you've made improvements on last season.
Yeah, they have. But, Sauce... To win the title, you got to have consistency, correct? Sustained success, as you like to say. Sustained success makes you a champion. So we'll see what happens against Newcastle this week. If they lose to Newcastle, I may not be calling them Manchester United on the show next week.
Look,
they could be back to you know what. So not going to go there, but. Have you got any comments on this game? If not, I'm going to move on to a more positive note, your game.
Yeah, I do have a comment, Domma.
Right. I hate sticking onto United and having to...
No, well, this is my comment, right? I'm looking at this, right? Hang on, let me get this back up. Let me get this back up because nothing can hide away here. We've got our favourite sites. Now, I'm looking at the Serie A, right? And there's a team that's in the Serie A at the moment. That's sitting on top, and they've got a player on their squad that once played for Manchester United, and I still to this day don't understand why you traded him away. Because I think
I know who you're talking about.
he's
Sure.
probably, you're not really going to find many better strikers than that in the world, to be honest, unless you go to the top.
He's
Um,
literally the younger version of like a Cavani, and he's big and strong and built like a brick shithouse. He's a strong guy. He's exactly the type of striker
well,
we
Tom,
need.
I'm looking at his stats. He scored 16 goals this season in the Serie A. And last time I checked, Inter Milan is sitting on top of the league, a league absolutely dominated by Juventus the last 7 seasons, and there Juventus are sitting in fourth position,
Yeah.
so
They
6
lost,
points,
yeah.
8 points behind. Sorry, um,
My boys are second, Milan,
yeah,
but we lost to Spezia.
but how good is it seeing the Milan teams back on top? Just honourable
Yeah.
mention to the City A.
An honourable mention, as I might say. I don't know if I said it to you, Source, but I did say it to a fellow uh, listener of the Double Coverage family, part of the podcast family. I did say preset because we don't cover Serie A much. We probably should start covering Serie A, but I said Inter was going to win the league. Maybe I've gone a bit early, like now, but they're in a good spot. But I called it pre-season. They pushed Juventus to the brink last season, and they're just back to playing as good as what they were. Now, if you can get, before you mention who the person is, I think everyone's already worked out who it is. Can you get his stats from last season and tell everyone how many goals he kicked last year as well? Because it's literally, it pains me as a Manchester United fan for the fact that how many goals he kicked last year as well in the Serie A. I'm pretty sure he was second to Ronaldo for most goals scored.
I think what's this?
Second or third?
23 goals.
That's in the Serie A, ladies and gentlemen.
36 games, 23 goals.
That's very, very good for Serie A. Very good. It's a more defensive league. Unbelievable. The person that Source is talking about is, of course, the one and only Belgian superstar, Romelu Lukaku.
I still don't know, Domma. Why? Why did you get rid of him? He's built for the Premier League. The Premier League. He's built for the Premier League. How big he is, the unit. Like, we're seeing how those African born. He's Belgian, but he was, probably heritage is from Africa somewhere.
Yeah.
We've seen how they can, dominate in the Premier League. I'll just look back no further than Didier Drogba. What a gun he was.
Drogba, even Adebayo dominated at a point in time there in the Premier League.
Yes.
He killed it. There'd be a whole heap of them. Nicholas Anelka is another guy that
Anelka,
dominated.
yes.
Mate, there's been so many great African heritage players to go through the Premier League, and they just dominate because they're so skillful, so big, and so strong.
Exactly
and they
right.
can dictate the game. And it's just frustrating. I'm with you.
But he's still young, what you traded him, maybe he's 25, 26. Guys don't hit the peak of their career, sometimes till 27, 28. Then they have 4 or 5 cracking good years where he could have potentially gone on and, maybe clocked 30 goals one season or 2. Who knows?
I reckon he could have. But it's a missed opportunity that we lost. I think we lost due to Jose Mourinho. He was the coach at the time. But shit happens. We move on with it. We're playing pretty well now, but he would have been a very handy player to have. Then instead of relying on a Cavani, which is probably going to stick around for this season, maybe end of next season, and then that's it. So
Benny said on the chat, Inter on top because they play plumbers and carpenters in the Europa League. They don't have the UEFA Champions League to worry about.
Oh, here we go.
Mate, have a look at your depth on your squad. You can't blame that.
Oh, look at the other comment in there. We'll get that to Hobby Talk, actually. We'll save that comment from our friends at Cherry Collectibles. That's right. I agree with him. We'll get to that when we get to Hobby Talk because, rightly so, Sauce deserves all the clout he can get based off his Sauceys Smokey. Let's just put it that way. 100%. He's been on it since day dot. But let's move on with these. Arsenal beat Leeds 4-2. Great victory. Aubameyang had a hat-trick in this one. fantastic performance. You look good. You look the goods in this one.
Yeah, look, Domma, all I can
That
hope for, as I can
consistency.
say, it's just that consistency. We're lacking it. It wasn't there at the start of the season. Obviously, you can't do that to have a chance. But where we sitting, I had the table up, but it seems to have escaped me. Let me.
10.
Where we are, we're 10th, right? Sitting on 34 points. Tottenham's 2 points above us, so
Yeah, I can't believe that either.
we can finish on top of Tottenham, mate. I
I
genuinely
reckon you'll go
look.
higher than that, mate. I reckon you'll be in a very good position.
We might sneak into the
Potentially,
playoff for Europa League.
maybe. I reckon you could. I reckon you'll finish in that top 8 section of the table.
But
So
you know what? I'd actually rather us not make Europa League, so we just got one league to focus on next year, and hopefully we can piece it together and have a good run at it.
yeah, fair call. Fair call, man.
So,
I completely agree.
uh,
Next up, we had
yep.
Everton losing to Fulham 2-0, which is another upset. West Ham smacked Sheffield 3-0. Chelsea beat Newcastle 2-0. The ladder, as it stands, Man City on top, United second, Leicester equal with United on 46 points in third, Chelsea fourth, West Ham fifth, Liverpool sixth, Everton seventh, Villa eighth, Spurs ninth, Arsenal 10th, Leeds 11th, Wolves 12th, Southampton 13th, Palace 14th, Brighton 15th, Burnley 16th, Newcastle 17th, Fulham 18th, West Brom 19th, and Sheffield are done and dusted. Bottom of the table. Following games before next week's podcast: Villa versus Leicester, Arsenal versus City. That's a tough one coming up for you. Man United versus Newcastle, Brighton, Palace, and Leeds versus Southampton. Very nice. All right, well, we smashed through that. Well, we've got Champions League that we're going to just rattle off really quickly. Leipzig were defeated by Liverpool 2-0 this morning, and PSG gave a grand old-fashioned slappage to Barcelona, beating them 4-1. The upcoming games tomorrow are FC Porto versus Juventus and Sevilla versus Dortmund. We'll cover those other games fixture for next week on next week's podcast. But a few comments on any of these Champions League games.
Yes, watch the PSG versus Barcelona game this morning, and let's just say Mbappe is a gun. Every time he got on the ball, something positive happened. Obviously scored a hat-trick. Unbelievable game. Like just the sort of stuff that you'd see from Ronaldo in his early days. And I don't want to compare him to Ronaldo, but
you can compare him to Ronaldo. You would want to compare someone of Mbappe's class to the GOAT, the greatest player to ever play. Ronaldo. That's what you want to compare.
Exactly,
him to.
mate.
Good comparison source. I like that.
He's got the pace. He's got the footwork. He's got the trickery. He's got it all. He's just all round gun and a pleasure to watch. And he's just going to be one of those players that every time he's fit, you want to see him play. And hopefully one day, if I can get back over to Europe, he'll be around a bit longer. I wouldn't mind going to. I've been to the stadium once before, PSG's home ground, and seen back when they had Zlatan and Cavani, and I went to a game, and let me tell you, it was off its absolute rocker. I'd love to go back to another one.
Bloody oath. I got no comments for that game. I might talk about it a bit later on in the show. But anyway, we'll move on. UFC is up next. What a card we had. Some great fights on this card. Saucy would definitely run through it. The main event for this was Kamaru Usman versus Burns. And as Sauce called him last week, Snoozman. But I think when he reviews this fight, there was no snoozing in this one.
There was no snoozing,
Saucy,
let me tell you. All right, we'll run over the main card as we usually do, Domma. We'll run it back. We had the middleweight division. Julian Marquez defeating Maki Pitolo in submission in the third round. Featherweight division, Ricky Simon defeated Brian Keller, third round decision. And then the middleweight division, Calvin Gastelum defeated Ian Heinrich in a third round decision. So good comeback win for Gastelum. Women flyweight division, you had Alexa Grasso defeated Macy Barber. Watch this fight. Grasso absolutely laid on the punches. Let me tell you, her hand work. The great man DC commented on it on the Ariel and DC show. And yeah, can't agree more. Let me just tell you, I want to be facing across the octagon from her. And welterweight division, the main event, Kamaru Usman defeated Gilbert Burns with a KO. And well, let me tell you, I called him Snoozeman last week, and he's renowned for just being a boring fighter. But there was nothing boring about this fight. This fight was nuts. Gilbert Burns, credit to him, just kept coming forward. But Usman's striking in this fight was unbelievable.
I agree.
He switched up his stance. Went from the standard right hand stance, and then switched it up to the southpaw stance. And then he was just throwing jabs down the middle. The amount of jabs down the middle, he just landed straight on the button. By the end, just have a look at Gilbert Burns' nose. It is absolutely buckled. And he just kept landing that jab, and that, after a while, you keep landing that jab, even though probably the power's not getting as much, because it's landing so consistently, every single one, it just feels like a heavy blow. And then he was able to just, wear him down and then lay it in to him, and get the critical strike that, sent him lights out. And, I said it to you, Domma, after this. I was like, man, I'm Usman, 13 fights in a row. He's defended his title, 5-6 times, I think. Stand to be correct on that point, but, another few title defenses gets up to that, 6, 7. Now would be a good time to I don't know if anyone out there who's listening to this and knows anything about UFC cards, right? We've seen a bit of a boom, obviously, in Connor's cards, and some other things. If you know what his rookie card is, let me know, please. His first series of card, Kamaru Usman. DM me at Sauceys Collectibles or at DBL Coverage _ on Instagram. You can also find us on Twitter. And let me know, because I would like to figure that out, and I'm trying to do a bit more research. Just haven't had the time to go back through the sets and everything. So if someone knows more than me, that I'd love to know, because I wouldn't mind buying one of his rookie cards, because I just see if he gets up to that, close to that 10 title defenses, and I look at everyone in that division, Domma, no one can beat him.
100%. Now, post fight.
Don't tell me you're going to bring this up.
I'm going to bring it up. Do you think it's going to happen, or it's not going to happen?
No, it's not going to happen. And Kamaru Usman, you're an absolute, you were very, very close to gaining that absolute coveted, prestigious award of Lemon of the Week this week for those comments. But I thought against it. But you can call out who you want to call out, but calling out a guy who's 40 years old and way past his prime, what does that prove? What does that prove? You're in your prime. It's just it's just ridiculous.
What about Masvidal?
I would like to see that fight again. And look, there's some people out there don't really want to see him fight Masvidal again, but I would like to see if Masvidal can keep it as a striking game and see what he could potentially do. Look, I'm always entertained to see Masvidal fight, because you never know what can happen. But, he hasn't been good his last few, so if he does get a title shot, man, even though I don't think he really deserves it, but, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Pay-per-views in the end of the day.
I would still watch the fight.
Yeah, definitely. We got a card this week.
We do have a card this week, Domma.
Let's give us a rundown. And we
here we
will
go.
move on.
Sunday, kicking off this Sunday, the main card from 12 p.m. Obviously, we've also got the prelim card for people who are living in Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Card kicking off at 8:30 a.m. on Sunday. Prelim card. Main card will run that through. Middleweight division, Phil Hawes versus Nazardine Imavov. And then the heavyweight division, Aleksei Olenek versus Chris Dacos. Featherweight division, Charles Rosa versus Derek Mina. Women bantamweight division, Kelton Vieira versus Yana Kuznitskia. And then the heavyweight division, the main event.
Let's go.
Heavyweight main division, Curtis Blades.
Here we go.
Versus Hot Balls himself, Derek, the big man, Lewis.
Let's go.
Our
Let's
boy
go.
Domma, tune in
Our
this
boy,
Sunday. Derek Lewis,
our
baby.
boy is back. Our boy is back, and we're so excited. We are so excited. Hot Balls himself is going to come out and just try and get another win. We just got to get him back up there so then he can fight for the title.
Come
That's what
on,
we want.
Derek. Come
We
on.
want Big Derek
This Sunday.
fighting for
Tune
the
in.
title.
UFC Fight Night. Blades versus Lewis.
That's it, mate. Very nice. All right. Let's move on now to the most coveted and prestigious award that can be bestowed upon anybody in the sports entertainment and sports trading card hobby sector. And that is, of course, if you don't know what it is, ladies and gents, and you're new to this podcast, you do want to receive this. You want it. Or maybe you don't want it. But we like giving it out. It is the Le Mans of the week. Now, Sauce, we had there hasn't been too many Le Mans this week, next to none. But I saw something, this morning, and we discussed it, and we like as we always do before this podcast, we run things past each other. And Sauce said, "Surely, Dom, you cannot go with this." Like, I understand it is the most Le Mans. It is a Le Mans act, and he deserves to get it. But Saul said, you can't run with this. And as I said at the top of the show, I could become, by the end of this podcast, the most hated co-host on this show. I reckon Saucy
I warned him, but,
definitely the outright favourite probably now already. But I'm not winning any brownie points with any listeners or any viewers out there.
It doesn't bother me, Dom, because I watched it, and I semi-agree with you.
Yeah, but you're not going to put it out there because you're not. You're just going to say "Le Mans" and that's it. You're going to wash your hands with it. I'm the one that. Anyway, I'm just going to put it out here, and people are going to probably enjoy this because I love the GOAT Ronaldo. So if you're a Ronaldo fan, you're going to love every second of this. So I tuned in this morning. I get a message. All right, I'll set up the story for you. Look at my phone. I'm in bed and I go, "Oh shit!" Source message. Oh, you're watching Champions League? I said, "Fuck, I forgot to get up." So I quickly get up, tune in, 58th minute, PSG versus Barcelona, right? Sit it down, got it up on my stand. Well, I just rested it on my NutriBullet, mate. That's my stand. Had me coffee. Yep, just watching. I'm like, what is happening? This is an ultimate capitulation. Mbappe, probably the baby goat, as we can call him at the moment, of footballing world, is putting on a clinic. I may have potentially wrote in this group to Source and a couple other people that I wouldn't write off Barcelona. They were 2-1 down at the time. And then they went 3-1 down. And I said, I wouldn't write off a team that has a top 6 all-time player on their side. This person did score for Barcelona, mind you. But what I saw from the moment they were down and out, which was 3-1 down in like the 68th minute to the end of the game. And as Source filled me in, because I didn't get a chance to watch at the beginning, besides him scoring the goal, he was putrid. Mr. I've checked out of Barcelona. Mr. I'm top 6 of all time. Mr. proclaimed greatest player of all time when he's not even better than another countryman in Maradona. He's not even better than him, so I don't know how he's the GOAT. I'm talking about Lionel shit the bed Messi. He was dreadful. Now, Sauce, he was absolutely dreadful. I was watching his mannerisms. He was not interested at all.
He wasn't, Dom. And I agree with you. He was very average today, and even up before, obviously they went down, and then he just submitted. He tapped out.
I can't believe that on our socials, there's going to be an IGTV cover photo with Lionel Messi with a Le Mans on his head. I'm not going to say I'm not disappointed. I'm actually pretty excited to see it. But Sauce, without further ado, on behalf of the Double Coverage podcast and its family, Lionel Messi would like to congratulate you on becoming this week's very own
Lemon!
Thank you, Leo. The sooner you get out of there, the better it is probably for that club and probably for you. Uh, if anyone talks about anybody having their legacy dinged at the moment, it is Leo Messi because he's been subpar. He still kicks goals. You can kick goals. That's anyone can kick goals, mate, with that amount of talent. But it's the way you lead your team on the field, and it's non-existent at the moment. So all the
Yep.
best, Leo. Pull your head in, and you're now a candidate for Le Mans of the Year when we put all the entries in towards the end of 2021. So that's the Le Mans of the week. I'm probably the most hated person now, Sauce, but it's okay. You know, I'll take that title. Shit happens. Anyway, let's get to hobby talk where a few more divisive things have happened, but an awesome thing's also happened this week. Happened today, and as we like to say, good things always happen on a Wednesday in this hobby when we're about to go on air and do a podcast. There's always something good. But we will start with a few things before we get into the news of the day. Now, this is just a shout out to great content creators anyway, like just everywhere within this hobby, whether you're here in Australia, overseas, anywhere in the world. I think that nostalgia and joy is slowly coming back into the hobby. It never left. I'm not saying it was gone, but it's starting to become more of the focus now. I think I was saying this to Saucy, but I think we lost a bit of that identity and that joy and that connection with others as we did because we got pretty defensive when flippers and all these different people came into the hobby and people put up their wall and they got really defensive and they're like, oh, you know, why is this content creator out here making fun of this? And they didn't understand the comedy and just, I don't know, the wits about these people creating content there. They didn't understand the flipper game. And it was all new to so many people that were around and they didn't want to like progress with the times, I guess, with the hobby. But I think everyone's got their defined role now, Source. And I just want to say a massive shout out to everyone in the hobby, just breakers, content creators, flippers, everyone doing the right thing, but it's also bringing back that passion and joy that once was what basketball card collecting was and sports trading cards or just trading cards in general. So obviously there's a few grey areas which we will get to, but I just wanted to start it off on a good note.
Positive note,
this
Domma.
week.
I like
yeah,
it.
positive
I like
note.
it.
After we go in and hammer probably one group of people in about 5 minutes time. So yeah, massive thanks to all those people. Now I want you to touch on this one, Source. Growth of the hobby in Australia. eBay figures came out. They're up. It's up 379%.
You know, and how much more clearer do I need to make it to when I speak to people from overseas and see the opportunity that there is? You know, if you imagine you had a grading site in Australia, and you know people didn't have to send stuff and wait 6 to 8 months, maybe more even to get it back. I mean, I'm waiting for BGS from July. What are we? Feb. It's pretty bad.
I know.
So,
I don't know.
I mean, we knew this, Domma. We knew this. Obviously, we started this podcast in the heat of COVID, and you know, I was in the Facebook groups and that, and I seen, you know, during obviously when people had lockdowns and whatever, you know, the Facebook groups were really, you know, on fire. You know, sales after sale after sale. You know, people buying, selling, and you know, it hasn't slowed down. All the groups have started up. There's a few more now even that I've, you know, found and joined, and a few more micro groups within the hobby. There's a whole group just dedicated to people who collect Michael Jordan that live in Australia, and you know, it's becoming its own thing. You know, obviously all these people have this in common. So it's just, you know, the growth on the social aspects growing, the growth on obviously the eBay is growing. So, you know, people, I keep trying to say to people it was coming, like it was going this way. So. And you know, we're seeing by the box prices that are still getting sold out and breaks are still getting filled, that there's a demand.
100%. It's massive here, man. It's huge, and as we keep saying, the more and more it becomes popularized, I just think more and more people are going to start coming out of the woodwork. And as you know, we've got a lot of underground collectors, and we said it so many times, and we're going to keep saying it till we're on the record every week if we have to say it. But there's so many underground collectors that are yet to even show what they've got. And I think a lot of people, like, we're blown away here in Australia because we see collections overseas. But I think a lot of people are going to be blown away overseas when they see some of the people coming out in this country with some of the collections that they have. Kobe's, like, people are going to be blown away, completely blown away. So it's a watch this space. It's a big congratulations to people in the hobby here, and it's awesome that we do have a following like this. And a following like this helps us to get on the map, and it helps us with content creation, helps us with everything, buying, selling, you name it. You name it. And perfect thing is a perfect plug here is for the Australian Trading Card Association. If you are part of that 379% growth, or even if you were part of it before that growth, definitely jump on to their page. We will tag them in the description, but jump on their page and give them a follow. Yeah. And this is the perfect
Facebook
thing
and
for
Instagram.
Matt. This is perfect. This is what Matt wants to bring to meetings and be able to say to organisers, look, we've gone up 379% in the market. We're the biggest globally in terms of growth on the eBay platform. How good's that? Like, that's something, another positive note to literally.
I love it.
Honestly, for Australian collectors, it's awesome.
I love it.
Keep up the good work.
And rolling on from that, Domma, that positivity, obviously we've had today. Nothing better. Sent the message through this morning. Domma, have a look at this. Obviously a few people have already talked about it, but we'll give it a mention on the Hobby Talk segment, of course. Domma, without further ado, I'll switch it over.
Yes.
He's got it ready this time. Bang. Yes. He's on the ball. As we said, I'm on the ball today.
Overlay.
Chuck it on the mini. And if you're watching on YouTube, I've got up an article by businesswire.com. The Chernin Group invests $40 million in growth capital in Goldin Auctions, the leading collectibles and trading cards marketplace. Nice picture of Ken Goldin himself holding some absolute grails. And you can read through the article and you can skip through it yourself. I can even chuck the article link in the YouTube description. So if you are watching us on podcast, come find us on YouTube and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, we quick plug there. Give us a subscribe. We'd like to get 100 subscribers on YouTube at some point. And read the article, find in the YouTube link, go through it. The main thing that obviously stands out is the honourable, investors that have plugged for part of the 40 million, including Mark Cuban, Kevin Durant, Rich Kleiman. There's a few other here.
Logan Paul, Dwayne Wade, Sean
Bill
Watson,
Simmons.
So I just wanted to touch on that
Mark
quickly.
Wahlberg, Dwayne Wade.
Now, I know Sauceys got his Cannes Film Festival video in the works in regards to some of the stuff he said about PSA. He just wanted to point out that disparity with favoritism over grading companies. Now, I've been in Clubhouse during the week. And every discussion ends with, oh, you should send it to PSA. Oh, you should send that to PSA. Blah, blah, blah. I've never heard him say, let's send it to BGS or CGC or CGS or HGA, to be honest. But what I wanted to just touch on is we need to correct this issue in the market very quickly. And the reason why I say this, Source, you may agree or you may not, or you may disagree with me. But I just want to read off some of these people that have invested, and I just want to point out to listeners and viewers how this is going to impact the market and how it could, without them even marketing PSA, could take them to another dimension in terms of popularity. All right, so hear me out here. You might be like, "Oh, it's a conspiracy theory." It's not a conspiracy theory because I can guarantee you, There's people already in this circle that are already heavily using PSA and only PSA. So PSA, without even doing further marketing, potentially you could just kill off that grading sector. Timberland, who's in music and entertainment. So he's got people that are musicians and hip hop artists, singers. They're going to start coming into the hobby. All right. So music, take note of this. Music number one. Mark Cuban, entrepreneurs and billionaires, very wealthy millionaires, Fortune 500 company owners, Fortune bloody whatever company owners. Mark
Correct.
Cuban, bang. Kevin Durant and Rich Kleiman. Now, I am actually not going to put KD in the NBA circle of pushing cards out. All right. I'm going to put the next person that I'm going to say in that category. The reason why I say KD and Rich Kleiman, I don't know if people know the backstory about Kevin Durant and how savvy and smart he is with his manager, Rich Kleiman, when it comes to investments. Now, if you go do some digging and you find out some articles, and this is a credit to Kevin Durant, in Silicon Valley, when he was playing for Golden State, he made more money from his investments into companies than what he did on his actual contract. And before he even got money from external endorsements.
Yep.
He made more money from his investments. So KD, as we saw, what was it, Star Stock?
Yep.
He
Star
invested
Stock.
in,
Yep.
all
He's
right?
in Star Stock.
Rich Kleiman does not allow his client to invest in anything that is going to fail. It may fail. Goldin Auctions may take a dip, but he's not going to make his client invest his own well-earned money into something that he's going to lose his money in. And that's what we've been saying to you. People with money are not investing in a product to see it fail. Just remember that.
Yeah.
They want it to succeed so they make more money. That's how the world and reality works. So that's a business 101 lesson free. Compliment to me. So KD and Rich Kleiman are in there. Next one. This is the one that's going to push it out to people in the NBA circle. Dwayne Wade.
Yep.
And Bill Simmons. And if you want to tag Mark Wahlberg on there, because he's in with a lot of sports personalities,
Yep.
you can do that also.
True.
But Bill Simmons now, who used to be, I heard, I don't know if you told me or someone else told me, that Bill Simmons used to be on the board for Topps trading cards.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. He was on the board. Now, Bill Simmons has created, obviously, the podcasting network, The Ringer. And they've just recently introduced a podcasting show, a sports trading card podcast.
Correct.
Under the Ringer brand. Now, Bill Simmons, if you don't know who he is, ladies and gentlemen, Google him. He gains enough traction and enough listens for him to say, oh, listen to this podcast on my podcasting network to get educated about cards. So now that's another avenue. So now it's getting broadcast radio-wise, show-wise, podcast-wise, like audio. There's audio out there and video. Now the last two. Now Deshaun Watson's come in. He's gonna preach trading cards and the way that you should collect and the way that you should grade and you should do all this stuff to NFL players now. He's a very respected player. And the last one, which we've said from the beginning, he's only in Pokemon at the moment that we know of. He may be into sports cards, but he's been pushing Pokemon more because that's his marketing avenue, really. And he's marketing on a platform in YouTube, which, as we said, has created cult followings.
Yes.
And you thought, like, people go, oh, well, people that follow Gary Vee are this and people that follow Gary Vee are that. If you have not followed a YouTuber, like people like PewDiePie and all these people, KSI.
Correct.
People will defend them to the ends of the earth, no matter what they do, no matter what. And whatever they put in front of you, product, place that they go to, car that they buy, or games that they play, or content that they create, people want to have that. Now, Logan Paul is the last one that's invested in this. This is a massive move for him. And a great move. He's in that, and now he's covering that whole YouTube content creation segment of the hobby and getting those eyes on to trading cards. Now, if this isn't the greatest, like this is great for Goldin Auctions, like fantastic. And if you read the article, it does mention in there that they want to incorporate technology to become
Yes.
better and more
Which generally means that
efficient.
they're probably going to update their site,
Yeah,
which it does need an update, if you ask me.
which is fantastic, which is absolutely awesome, and they're doing a fantastic job. Ken Golden and Golden Auctions are killing it. But this, as we keep saying, it does a full circle. All these people that I just mentioned to you have their own network. Now, if they educate their own network, which is practically all of society that want to get into the hobby, and all they know is PSA as the be all and end all of grading, what do you think this is going to do to the value of cards in other slabs? Yeah, you might be able to just go get them for dirt cheap and then crack them and then slab them with PSA. But then the backlog at bloody 4 million, and you're telling me that Nat Turner doesn't know know Mark Cuban, and they aren't mates. Billionaires are friends with billionaires. It's the way it works. Like people have to wake up. They have to wake up. Your backlog in your card will still be delayed. It may not be 12 months. It might get down to like a 7 month delay. But once all these people from this network and industry come into the hobby, I'm pretty sure PSA is going to favor grading their cards first before yours. So then when they put it on their Instagram, more people are going to flood to the market and buy cards to send them to PSA.
Correct. It's a horde thing. It's a
You really got to.
sheep.
You just got to wake up a bit to that. Like I'm not, and
It's
all
been
credit to
proven with
PSA,
facts.
don't
It's
even
been proven
doing
with
it.
fact, as we know, Domma, that the actual quality, what you're paying for, is the actual quality of grading of what's behind the slab, and that is being proven by PSA to actually be very average. So it's completely inflating the whole PSA brand, the whole PSA 10 market. Seriously inflated.
So that was my take on it, Source. I don't know. Do you agree with that? I think you do, based on that last response. But that's the way I looked at it. Like it's a positive for the hobby. Fantastic, yeah, like awesome. But there's also precedents and things that we've created in the hobby now that are just going to get put like brought to the forefront of hobby talk and discussion of when these people come in, they're going to ask Deshaun Watson, they're going to ask Bill Simmons, they're going to ask Wade, Logan Paul, Mark Cuban, Mark Wahlberg, KD, Rich Kleiman. They're going to ask these people, oh, I've got this card. You know, I used to collect cards when I was a kid. I want to get it graded. It looks in good nick. Where do I send it? Oh, PSA.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say to you, to the listeners and the viewers. There's going to be like, they're not going to turn around and say, hey, listen, you know, you've got 5 grading companies to choose from. Which one do you want to send it to? They don't even have to say value of money. And these people probably don't even care about value of money because they make the money. They just want to slab their card. I don't know.
It's
That's just my take on it for that. I know I'm playing devil's advocate, and it's like, yeah, well, you're taking the pessimistic view on an optimistic story. No, I'm taking the optimism in the optimistic story and praising it because it's freaking fantastic for the hobby.
it's
But
great. Look,
but
it's
there's
great,
also
but people, you need to be wary. You need to be wary.
we don't tell you who's
Just
going to tell you. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, and the ridiculous thing is, now you're literally seeing like people going, well, why wouldn't I send this to PSA? Because I can get more money for it. So they'd send it to PSA. They send it to PSA just because, by putting it in a PSA slab and getting a 10 whacked on it, it's, increases the value from by another $1,000. So they're happy to send it in, and now people will send stuff in on a 5 day. 65 bucks a card, 75 bucks a card. Get it back within a month and
true.
flip it.
No, it's true. But it's, as I said, it is first and foremost great for the hobby in terms of investing in Goldin Auction. That just shows that the hobby is booming, absolutely booming. And in terms of crashing by 2024, our mate Lamont there, don't think you're onto it. There's too many big people invested in this thing for it to crash. It will correct itself at some stage. It's not going to crash, and literally 90% of people are going to be left holding the bag. I don't think it's going to go down that track, but it will correct itself. So don't be surprised when prices of cards do dip in value. All right. Fan question time, Source. We've got a couple here this week. This one is from Lewis_Neil. In regards to vintage Jordan cards, do you prefer to buy low pop, low grade, or high pop, high grade?
I gave the tip out a while back. Was literally just buying PSA graded. As I said, unfortunately they're just easier to flip. But I'm buying PSA graded Jordan cards. Good action shots, obviously. Inserts always help, but just good action shots and just getting them, because there was points in time, if you just go back, you could, this 1990 Fleer base card that's popped off, that's got a pop of ridiculous pop of like 5,000 tens or something like that. And it's just like a sick action shot of him dunking the ball. At one point in time, you could have been buying PSA 9s for like 25 USD. And now those PSA 9s, you go have a look at them, they're doing well up over 100. So it just, for me on Jordan, there's opportunity everywhere. Obviously, if I was to collect one Jordan Grail card, which I don't, I just own some base Jordan stuff, graded Jordan stuff. I don't own any big, Jordan Grails. But if I was to do that, I'd probably go. I'd just be looking for a rare card. It wouldn't even bother me at this point, if it was even graded or whatever. If it's a numbered Jordan insert, hell, like I would get that. I just don't think it matters. I think the demand for Michael Jordan in this hobby is that profound, that buying something that's not his rookie and might even be like his 10th year in the league, but it's a numbered cool insert, will always just hold value, just because there's a limited amount of them available. And now with the demand in the hobby, it just seems to be that everyone just wants any sort of cool looking Jordan cards, and there's plenty out there. So you could have been buying base cards for dirt cheap, $1, $2, and selling them for $8, $6, $7, $8 now, for just an average base card. So the opportunity in Jordan is just ridiculous. But yeah, I would go with numbered. Just anything numbered, dude. Obviously low pop and all those sort of things, they help. With it has a low pop, but I still think the demand is that much. Even if the pop on a card is say 1,000 on a 10, or 1,500, as long as that card's a cool looking card, it's doing a sick in-game action shot, stuff it, man. Like, it's Jordan. I just think there will always be a demand for that card. You always find someone that will want to buy that card, especially in a 10.
100%. I know there's a few people that, with this Fleer Jordan, for example, a lot of people, due to the price inflation on it, went and bought a lot of low graded variants of this card. And then when it hit that 700K mark, they flipped them for a very, very nice profit. Because as we've always said, when a PSA 10 of a card goes up in value, everything follows verbatim, like down the scale from 9, 8.5, 8. Everything will get a price jump. So I know a lot of people that did very well on stuff like that, which is good for them. But as Saul said, you can find some nice, great graded Jordans out there, very, very cheap, that if you really want, you can make 10, 15, $20 extra on them if you want to flip. If not, keep it for your collection, Lewis, who put this question to us. Next up, Cards Vault. Super high-end cards being out of reach for most. What will happen to the ratio of PSA 9 and 10s?
Repeat the question.
super high-end cards are being out of reach for most.
Yeah.
What will happen to the ratio of the PSA 9 and 10s? Well, I can tell you, they're not going to
Of
stop.
the high-end cards?
Yeah, they're not going to stop giving them out. So,
Yeah, they know that. Well, it depends if the card's numbered and there's a limited amount. Then yeah, but if it's like a base card, um, or a silver, and there's still product out there, could go up. So, um, the price disparity between 9 and 10, it will just sort of stay the same. It's sort of like about 4x, 5x now, depending on the card. Um, but yeah,
I don't know. Uh, we will put this out there again on the wavelength, but I think once AI gets incorporated to most grading companies, well, in PSA, for example, as sources mentioned, that the ratio of 9 and 10s will probably become less, but also the value of the 9 and 10s
and
prior to those are going to decrease in value.
and Domma, I'm like, I just put this out there because people need to seriously think of this, because think about this, that this could happen. In a day and age, 21st century, where, as I said, I've said this before, your planes fly themselves with technology, and you got freaking Mr. Elon Musk trying to land rocket ships back from space into Earth, and we're still grading a card by eye. It doesn't make sense when we've got the technology, we've got the scanners, we've got the AI algorithms that can be built by code developers. Why wasn't this done earlier? Like, this is how you get the integrity of grading to be of a higher standard, and the tens that are actually given out being worth, really, really worth a 10, you know? Um, and it just, and now with so much more demand, if the tens are that easy to get, then it devalues the 10, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And at the moment, what I think the 10's inflated of PSA 10. I think it's an inflated price with their grading standards and their lack of wanting to incorporate technology, which, if other people out there, surpass them on that point and use technology, and then their tens literally become the new market leader, then more people are going to use them.
100%. But we'll see what
So
happens there. You just gotta be aware of that is what's going to happen, because the course of action that's happened prior to grading companies, when all they've done is just change the design of their slab to a new format of their slab. The old slab's depreciated in value substantially. So what happens? And it's still graded a 9, it's still graded a 10. So you got to think
if
about.
you've got an old slab and you send that in, you can get it reslabbed, and they don't change the grade. They don't regrade it. They
Yeah,
just put a new slab.
and guess what? Your card's already worth more.
And your card's worth more. Honestly, think about that, ladies and gentlemen, how stupid that sounds. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I understand that they had issues with fake slabs, but they're having issues with fake slabs with the new one now. So, what's the difference? You know?
Oh, well, we'll see what happens there. But I think, yeah, as we said, super high ends are out of reach. Yeah, the ratio of 9s and 10s will still be get given out to people that have these super high end cards. And well, if you're struggling to afford these high end cards, but you do want to buy into them, you can buy a fractional percentage of the card these days. So, which we'll
Oh.
probably talk about next week on the pod. But next up, last question we had was from Splash Culture. Do you think the increased redemptions we're going to see this year will affect products? A lot of talk that we're not going to see a lot of card autos due to COVID. Redemptions also take so long to return. So you reckon the redemptions we're going to see are going to
Yeah,
affect product?
look, I think we're going to see redemptions, but I really think that, um, my honest opinion, that these lower sets that we've seen actually had some on-car autos, like a Donruss Optic or a Court Kings. I really think that they're just gonna whack sticker autos on all of that product, and just try get autos on the higher end stuff.
Yeah.
There's already sticker autos on Prism, so people are used to that. And I just think they're going to keep it for the higher end stuff, like the impeccable,
Flawless,
the
immaculate. Well, Immaculate's
flawless.
got stick. Makes no
They'll
sense.
try get some on the Nor. It's that lower thicker stock card, and then the highest card. All the sort of thin cards, and the premium stock Prism sort of stock card that they develop on that sort of range of thickness. I believe really just think they're going to use stickers, because stickers would be so easy. They could send them literally 5,000 in the mail, and then they could sign them all and then chuck them all in the product.
100%.
Send them back. So I really think that's going to be the case, and I do think we're going to see an increase in redemptions. Who knows if Panini gets a better system. At the end of the day, all these companies are just going to turn around and blame it on COVID. So they just get an easy way out, and
I think
I really hope it isn't like that. They really do have a solution, or a plan of action is really what I'm talking about.
it could even be source that it's just the beginning of this year. We have this issue, and then when COVID starts to hopefully clear up over in the States towards the end of 2021, the back end products may have more on card stuff than sticker stuff.
Yeah.
So, but that's all dependent on what's happening with COVID in the States, I guess. So, obviously, that's out of people's control, whatever happens there. So, it may be a stickered year, as Source is saying, on the low end, and then they focus more on card stuff on the high end. But you may see some lower end product that comes out later in the year potentially have some on card stuff, but it's dependent on what's happening. All right, beautiful. That's a hobby talk down and done. Let's get to the most anticipated segment of the show, Sauceys Smokey, where now I will touch on what at Cherry Collectibles commented in the chat while we've been recording this podcast. They said Saucy's tips on Kobe rookies in December are paying off. So someone definitely, or everyone there down at Cherry, may have been listening to Sauceys Smokey and have jumped on this and maybe making some good coin, but also collecting some Kobe's early on for their PC and buy multiple copies, so then they could keep one and flip a couple others. As Source kept saying to people, that's what you should do with the Smokey. If you want to keep it for your PC, buy multiple copies of that card. If you just want to buy and flip, buy as many as you want and flip them. But Source, you're right on the money.
Fair to say, Domma, if anyone who's been following the Smokey from day dot, you would not have lost any money. I mean, I would have to say my two worst would be Andrew Wiggins, which, not for anything, Domma, I actually sold a BGS 9.5 that I bought and still made $25 on it.
So you haven't lost anything then?
I didn't lose anything on it. So, and Sekou, and that could still pan out if you hold on to the card. I did tell you to buy his base PSA 10 Prism. I think it was like $70. It was like dirt cheap. So yeah, I just I hope that people. All my cards are sitting over and ship my cards, which I'm gonna get them sent back, and I'll flaunt them off to everyone. I'll probably sell a few, some of those Kobe's. Now it's probably a good time to sell a couple. And hold on to a few more. That's what I would suggest. But into this week's Smokey Domma, I was just about to get up the card letter feed, as you know. So the guy I'm talking about this week, he plays in the East, so it's current day player. As we've noticed, it's and if you listen to our podcast with Chris, he labelled it the flight to the goats. At the moment, everyone's into the goats, buying them up, and so I'm just everyone's going left. I'm going a bit right, and I'm going towards the modern, and I'm going towards a player that has a bit of an interesting situation going on at the moment with his contract and where he sits with the team. I've got a feeling that he believes that he probably could be a number one or number two option if he's given the chance. And, you know, he obviously wants more money, and they don't want to give him that money, so he could potentially get traded, which could help his card prices immensely. And I just think where he's sitting at, if I go, let me just log in to my new fancy card letter pro version. Why I waited so long to get the damn pro version, I have no idea. If that's not a plug, if you've seen one.
Give us a rundown on it, mate, because you were G'd up over it. I know you were G'd
Oh,
up.
mate, I tell you what, you go in here, you got the compare. You can compare the two players. You can have a look at if they've got multiple grades there. You can have a look at all the grades and the graphs, how all the grade discrepancies are. And let me tell you, it's not something that you like to see when I'm not a fan of PSA. You just see that PSA line well on top. Well, obviously not on top of the BGS 10s. They're still sitting on top. But it's just elite, Domma. It's got your daily change. You're able to pick up patterns. You're able to see what's dropping. And, you know, that's how I was able to pick up this guy. So, without further ado, let me just flick it over to the full screen mode. Bang. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. If you're not, I've got John Collins, plays for the Atlanta Hawks, Prism-based PSA 10. Now, I always say I bring up a rookie card that's attainable for most. At the end of the day, I'm thinking John Collins generally is underpriced. I've had a look at sort of what some of his autos have sold for, and, you know, I'm not going to take credit for this. Someone else, one of the double coverage family, actually put me onto this one. So, and I had a look and I was like, oh yeah, this doesn't make sense. So if you go back, have a look at the graph. I've got the 6-month graph up here. John Collins is pretty much at a 6-month low. Now, if you go back and have a look at his yearly data, this is at points this card was selling for 200. Now, last sold was 105. Now, if he gets traded, the interest around this card instantly, I mean, even if you just go back as far as soon as the 3rd of January, there was a sale at $215. So the fact that you can get this for $100, PSA 10, mind you, the pop report on it's only 409. Now, is that super important? Because the pop report probably can rise. You know, if you go have a look at Jason Tatum's, who's from that same rookie year, and probably a lot more of his cards have been graded, that's probably where it could get to. But also, it may not. It may be a point where people at that time in the hobby didn't think John Collins was going to be that good, and they didn't look after his card as well. You know what I mean? So it could rise a little bit, but hey, it's under 500 for a Prism base card, which is just it's phenomenal if you ask me. When you have a look at Zion comparison, who's at 15k.
Yeah.
So that's the tip. Sauceys Smokey, John Collins. I've picked up a PSA 10. I think I paid 115 USD. And I just think at some point, you know, if Atlanta can, you know, push for the playoffs and at least make playoffs, if he stays there. If not, I think it's a play. If he stays there and leaves on free agency, it could be a play because it creates interest for the player. And if he still might get traded, if he doesn't want to sign a new contract and they don't want to let him leave for free, they might trade him. And then that will also generate interest because he will be able to have a bigger role. And then hopefully increase his like 18, 19 points a game to, you know, potentially 22, 24 points. And then that's what, you know, will probably see his price go up a little bit. But, you know, if I had money, you know, if I just had $1,000 to burn and you could just buy up every single PSA 10 base prism that you found of John Collins and then sent them into Star Stock, you know, and just left him sitting on the platform, it sells so much higher on there, you could potentially quadruple your money.
Definitely.
Or not quadruple, but like triple your money. You could sell it for 250, 300 on there at some point, I'm sure, easy. When it goes up, you know, obviously the recent highs was 200, but so everything starts a bit more on Star Stock. So like that's another play that you could potentially do if you send stuff to Star Stock. Yeah, buy it off eBay, send it directly to Star Stock. I know people do that. Then it will get added to your account. So I believe that turnaround time's about a month, but they're hiring and trying to turn around people. It's a real interesting thing. I'm hoping to get on the StarStack, or I'm on the StarStack platform, but I'm just like familiarizing myself.
We
Hope
will
to.
bring a series, as we did mention a while back. We will bring a IG series to the coverage family, where Sauce and I will just sit down, go through the account, try and pick some Starstock Smokies, and try and just, instead of us giving NFL tips, it's going to be
Stick to
literally,
what we know,
yeah,
Domma.
stick to what we know and what we know best at the moment, which is cards. So we're going to try and outlay the money there, and we'll do the same thing, have units, whatever the units are, could be 30 units, and it's moved into 30 units across these cards, and we'll just build it, and we'll see how high we can get it to, Saucy, which will be awesome. So it'll be interesting series to watch, and we're looking forward to bringing that to you. But that is Sauceys Smokey. Any last words before we tee off? Finish off. We did have a couple special pods come out. Chris Hoge, the Godfather of Data, once again appeared on the Double Coverage podcast over the weekend. We've got a nice one lined up this weekend. Hopefully, we just wait on confirmation, which will be a great discussion and great chat around sports trading cards, and also a different area of sports trading cards, which we have spoken about, just touched on, but haven't really gone in depth into it, which now we will be able to with the guest that we're getting on. And that's pretty much it, Saucy.
Plenty to look forward to, Domma. Plenty to
and
look
also,
forward to.
yeah, before I forget, stay tuned for our announcement, probably coming tomorrow, but stay tuned on all social platforms for Crunch Time. It will all be revealed tomorrow on our page. We're super excited for it. We can't wait for the Double Coverage family to get some more content that we're going to create. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. So stay tuned for that, and we will inform you all tomorrow. So yeah, looking forward to it, aren't we, Saucy?
We are, Domma.
We're going to the next level, and
We're going to the
it's a
next
hint,
level.
we're going to the next level, ladies and gents, and we're taking some people with us. That's all I'm saying on it. So stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much it. Show 33. Keep living, loving, and breathing all sports. It's Double Coverage. I'm Dom with the great man Sauce, and peace.
Peace out, ladies and gents.
Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports. Double Coverage.